Today I'm doing the Cheap Art Supply Challenge. I'll be using an 18 by 12 Impressions drawing pad by CPP, a ruler, a pencil sharpener in green, a Sharpie, and Crayola color pencils, the 50 pack with a lot of color choices because I really love choices. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So sketching is my favorite part when it comes to traditional art because, you can be sloppy and messy and can easily go back in and erase, fix proportions, change poses, and just basically be able to have that freedom that your art, came out exactly the way that you intended it to look. So, and I'm sure that's obvious, but there's a reason I'm kind of pointing this out. But more on that later because look at that sketch. So far, I really enjoyed this part. Oh, and I forgot to mention in the supply list that I'm just using a regular number 2 pencil. Obviously nothing fancy, you could get that anywhere. So here I am drawing Devenna, my original character that I've had for quite a long time. I want to say almost 8 years or so. If you follow me on Instagram, she tends to pop up a lot as she's my go-to character when it comes to basically just trying new stuff, such as this art challenge. So now we're into the Sharpie ink part, and it was a bit of a struggle. I'm not sure if you're able to tell in the video, but the Sharpie pen, despite being ultra fine tip, kind of bled a bit. So my thin, small lines were kind of hard to control, and I had to go over other lines and just kind of thicken them out to sort of even it out. Otherwise, I would have had like a nice thin line going into a super thick one, and it would have been just unintentional, which line sizes should vary on certain parts on purpose, but with the ink pen by Sharpie, it was happening in places that I didn't really want it to. So, in one place that I feel I really messed up kind of bad was her lips. At first I painted them, or I inked them thicker. Didn't work. I inked in her upper lip. That looked worse. I completely inked in her lips, and it looked better, so she's got that whole goth vibe going on at this point. So just overall inking it was just slightly more difficult. Now that we're into the coloring, I felt more at ease because even though it's been actually a while since I've picked up a Crayola colored pencil, or really just any colored pencil in general, but I feel like the coloring here, I went in with a light gold and I just started building it up like I normally do in any piece that I do. You build up the skin tone. You go from your lightest to your darkest and just keep on, shading. And I just feel like the entire coloring bit is kind of just self-explanatory. And Devenna herself has a pretty darker skin tone. For those who don't know much about Devenna, a lot of her look was inspired by the movie Apocalypto that I watched several years ago when I was young, and I really loved the look of the characters and knew I wanted to create a character similar, hence Devenna happened. So yeah, her real skin tone is quite dark, but with these pencils I really unfortunately wasn't able to get that rich, deep coloring despite, all my efforts, and you'll see that here eventually as I go in and work with it a little bit more, and you'll see what I mean in a bit. So right around here is when I start having that skin building issue. I went in with my color pencil and decided to really densely color her in, and as a result I got a very harsh waxy look, and you'll even see me trying to fix it. I go over it, I scratch at it with my nail, I even try smudging it, but nothing was really working or helping. And now this was only an issue though with how the camera was picking it up. So what I mean by that is the waxy stuff in the color pencil reflected the lighting that I had set up for this video. Hence why it didn't look good at all. So I went ahead and changed my lighting up a bit so you could see the proper coloring, and it fixed it for a little bit, but not by a whole lot. Now, since this was an issue with lighting and stuff, I do want to point out that the actual piece didn't appear waxy in real life, just in the video due to the lighting. So because I got scared with how well the color pencil was looking in the camera, I decided to go back to playing it safe again, and I picked up my Sharpie pen and went in and inked her hair in completely. And I really liked the end result of that. And then I finally went back with my color pencil and I finished the spear. And the very final touch that I added was white ink. I didn't include it in the supply list because I didn't know I'd be using it. But it's just a gel pen by Jelly Roll in the white ink. It can be a little expensive. For me, it wasn't though, because sometimes you just gotta be on the lookout for good deals, man. I got it at 40% off. It was a pack of 3, and it was roughly, each pen costing maybe $1 each or so, give or take a few cents. But yeah, so this is the end result, and I hope you all enjoy the finished piece. And if you haven't already, comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.